Vault Veritas SCP Files. Episode 50, A Wonderful Place. Incident Report 1224-2. Second known incident involving SCP-1224, colloquially known as the Lil Chemist Kit. Object Class: Safe. Risk Assessment Level: Low. Reported by Senior Researcher Dr. Everald Vance. Report made August 14th, 2002. I'm never touching another one of those sick Dr. Wondertainment SCPs again. I'll write up this report, and then I'm done. I don't want to think about it, I don't want to talk about it, and I don't want to see that garish, circus-colored branding ever again. If you so much as slide another one of those kits in my direction, I'll walk. You don't mess with anomalies linked to groups of interest. That's common sense. They always have an agenda, and that agenda seeps into every anomalous object they create. Mark my words, every bad report starts with one of them. So when the first of the Lil Chemist kits showed up, bright and colorful, proudly bearing the Dr. Wondertainment logo, I knew it wasn't going to end well. But it's just a child's chemistry set, right? How bad could it be? That's the trick, the part that gets under my skin, the deception. Every product they make is so damn whimsical, so cutesy, so inviting. They're marketed to kids, designed to look fun, harmless. And yet, every time, they leave behind something twisted. Each Lil Chemist kit is packed in a metallic box about the size of a cat carrier. A sticker on the front shows kids, different ones on each box, grinning as they mix chemicals, all happy and disaster-free. And, in the bottom corner, always the same warning label. Dr. Wondertainment Super Science Sets, trademark, are intended for children's ages 7 to 12. Any experiments using Dr. Wondertainment Super Science Sets, trademark, should be performed only with adult supervision. All instructions should be followed exactly for best results. Open the box, and everything inside looks like what you'd expect from a basic chemistry set. A sturdy metal test tube rack with a handful of test tubes, an Erlenmeyer flask, a deceptively child-proof looking heating element, a glass stirring rod and pipette, and an instruction booklet. And then there are the 50 opaque brown glass bottles. That's where things start to go wrong. Some of them contain common, albeit extremely hazardous, chemicals. Hydrofluoric acid, sodium hydroxide, colloidal silver, liquid mercury labeled helpfully as quicksilver. Some even have granules of uranium yellow cake just casually included. You know, things you'd hand to a child if your goal was to hear them start screaming, or see if something burst into flames within the first 5 minutes. And then there are the unknown compounds, always labeled something ridiculous. Super reagent, super catalyst, super accelerator. Buzzwords meant to sound fun while telling you absolutely nothing. The instruction booklets vary between kits, offering formulae for everything from harmless oobleck to more imaginative concoctions. Vanishing cream that bends light, granting temporary invisibility. Glow-in-the-dark paint that shines brighter than physics should allow. Strange, sure, but seemingly safe. That is, until you stop following the instructions. And I'll admit, that part's on me. I was the one who suggested we test what happens when you ignore the directions. When you mix freely, experiment beyond the prescribed formulae. But that's what we do, isn't it? The Foundation tells us to be thorough, to explore every possible outcome. So if you're looking for someone to blame for what happened next, look higher up. I'm not to blame for the D-class who... the orders came from higher up. I just designed the experiment. It wasn't my call who went in. Not that it really matters, right? This is why we use prisoners. I can sit here and wrestle with the fact that I put her in that room, or I can remind myself that she was probably in for murder. That's what most of them are here for, isn't it? I could look at her file, but I don't think knowing would actually help. It had to be something awful. It had to be. She was young, though. Early 20s, maybe. The kind of person who probably thought she had all the time in the world to figure her life out. Probably going nowhere fast. Yeah. Definitely nowhere. D-4192. Selected for her complete lack of chemistry knowledge. That was important. We wanted someone who wouldn't second-guess the process, who would just follow their instincts. No calculations, no safety precautions. Just pure, uninhibited experimentation. We set her up in one of the site's hazardous materials containment chambers. Blast-proof, radiation-shielded, the whole deal. If anything went wrong, it'd be solely on her. I had worried the premises would affect the test, but she didn't seem to really care. If she even noticed the reinforced walls, the triple-sealed observation glass, the fact that her toy warranted a level of containment usually reserved for high-yield explosives, she didn't show it. She was, quite simply, delighted. D-4192 plopped herself down cross-legged on the concrete in the center of the room, displaying a level of childlike flexibility I wish I still had. She lifted each bottle, turning it over in her hands, reading the labels with a savoring slowness. She laid out each test tube with the kind of delicate care you'd expect for a gemstone and china, not a jumbled assortment of dubiously labeled chemicals. And when she uncorked the first bottle, she was smiling. It was a real, open, joyful smile. The kind that made my own face lighten into something similar on the other side of the glass. I know that kind of joy. It's the same look kids get when they make potions in the kitchen, tossing together whatever they can find. A splash of juice, a spoonful of salt, a pinch of baking soda, and a glug of vinegar to send it all fizzing delightfully over the sides of the bowl. It's the charm of seeing the world react to your actions and presence. The tiny, thrilling discoveries that make childhood feel limitless. I used to do it myself. My experiments were always garden-based. Grinding up leaves and flower petals between my fingers, mixing in a little dirt, a few drops of rainwater. I'd stir the mess with a stick and insist I'd made a magic poultice that could heal anything. I believed in it completely, even as I held a bowl of what was unmistakably mud. That's what she looked like. Like a small, innocent kid who still thought magic was real. I should have stopped her right then. But I didn't. The show must go on. She started with the quicksilver. Liquid mercury streamed from its vial in delicate, rippling rivulets, gleaming in the light as it pooled in the bottom of the Erlenmeyer flask. She took a moment to tilt the flask back and forth, admiring the way the liquid slowly seeped, a shimmering silver puddle. With a satisfied nod, she took a pinch of salt, labeled in bold, dramatic lettering as sodium chloride, as though it were something far more exotic. The way she sprinkled it into the flask, dramatically coating every inch of the silver's surface, reminded me of the theatric flourishes of a magician. Next came a vial of greenish, chalky powder. She turned it over and over in her palm, watching how the dust clung to the glass before tapping in a careful measure. Later, after the chaos, I went back to check what exactly she'd chosen. Ground malachite, a component I have yet to see appear in any of the other kits. And for the final touch, she chose a vial of clear liquid, labeled, in the most unhelpful manner possible, Super Infusionator! She poured it in, and then took up a glass stirring rod and began to mix. The transformation was immediate. The solids dissolved in an instant, the concoction's surface shifting, morphing, thickening. A soft, silvery blue spread throughout the liquid, deepening as it congealed into something smooth and gelatinous, cooling into a pliable mass. D4192 let out a triumphant, almost breathless noise. She hadn't been given instructions to touch the mixture, only to create it, but she did not hesitate even a second before reaching in. Her face, that expression, it was more than curiosity. It was wonder. She didn't need to speak to me to tell me how amazed she was that she'd made something beautiful. She dipped a single fingertip into the goo. The instant it touched her skin, the shimmering mass moved. It clung to her finger, creeping upward like a living thing. I sat forward in my chair. I expected the screaming to start then, the panic. But all she gave was a soft, surprised exhale. "Oh," she murmured, "it tingles." Calmly, almost absent-mindedly, she reached for the edge of her cardigan and wiped at her hand. But the slime only latched onto the fabric, stretching and splitting, spreading itself out in thin, grasping strands that looked like antennae or crawling legs. Its volume doubled, then tripled. Her expression shifted again, not to terror, not yet, but to something uneasy. She tried to shake it off, to wipe it away with her other hand, but the moment her bare palm made contact, the substance seized her there, too. The delight drained from her face in a single moment. Her eyes met mine through the glass, wide with realization. And this time, when she opened her mouth, it wasn't to exclaim in wonder. She screamed, but only for a second. The plastic mass surged up her face, swallowing the sound as it engulfed her completely. She slumped to the side, fully cocooned in shimmering silver. For a moment, none of us moved. The only sign she was still alive was the faint rise and fall of her chest beneath the shifting film. Everything else was eerily still. Then the spell broke. I called for the test to stop, but what did that even mean? No one dared step into the chamber. No one so much as reached for the door. The guards, thankfully, didn't heed my panicked call to intervene. Who knows what would have happened had someone tried to touch her? We just stood there, staring through the glass, waiting. For what? I wasn't sure. But then, I saw it first. The goo was hardening, solidifying into something waxy and opaque. At first, I thought it was over. That whatever had happened was done. But then, as the pulsing sheen of the cocoon evened out, something new emerged. A faint silhouette beneath the surface. An outline. Her face. And she was screaming. Not moving. Not shifting. Just flickering in and out of visibility, trapped beneath the thick, glassy shell. It was just the faintest silhouette, but it was enough. Enough to haunt my dreams for years to come. She stayed like that for an hour. Meanwhile, we debated. What should we do? What could we do? The minutes dragged on, and I could feel the others waiting. The junior researchers, the guards, all of them looking at me to make a call. Do we go in? Do we try to get her out? Eventually, I ordered one of the guards to bring a flamethrower. I wasn't about to lose anyone else to that thing. But before it even had time to arrive, the cocoon began to break down. The shimmering mass weakened, thinning and dissolving. Maybe it lacked the pure anomalous energy to sustain whatever foul transformation had taken hold. Maybe it was just a child's toy, never meant to truly last. The chemicals less concentrated than a true lab would have held. Bit by bit, the goo sloughed away, and after 5 more minutes, she had re-emerged. Her eyes were gone. Hollow voids sunk deep into a face stretched too tight. Flesh pulled thin over a skull that seemed warped and misshapen. Her mouth gaped open, empty. No tongue, no teeth. Just a black, barren pit. And beneath her skin, nothing at all. No movement. No pulse. No life. Just loose, sagging flesh draped over hollowed bones. Whatever had been inside her had been completely stripped away, leaving only a shell, an empty husk. And once again, it fell to me to be the professional. To wrap it all up neatly, tie it with a little bow, pretend that what we just saw was just another anomaly to be catalogued and forgotten. I know I didn't sound unaffected. I know the shock bled into my voice. But damned if I didn't do my best to try and keep it together. This is it, though. No more. You get one last bout of professionalism out of me, and then I'm done with Dr. Wondertainment. Okay? Ready? Here goes. No signs of life detected. Remains to be incinerated per contamination protocol. Testing inconclusive. Further testing not advised.
Scott?
Huh?
You're staring off into space.
Oh, I was just thinking about the report, I guess. About Alicia.
Alicia?
The D class.
Scott, the report... It never... Never mind. Do you, want to know more? I did some digging while you were reading.
No. No, I don't want to know anything else. I don't want to think about it anymore. She was so excited, so joyful, and it didn't...
It didn't like her joy?
It loved her joy. It was innocent. It feeds off that. The joy made it hungry. Had she been the right age, 7 to 12, just like the kit specified, it would have accepted her. But she broke the rules. She just wanted to go to that wonderful place, but it didn't want to take her there.
Scott, I think you need to lie down.
When your world is down and you're needing escape, know in your head is a wonderful place.
Vault Veritas SCP Files is a podcast inspired by the SCP Foundation. A Wonderful Place is based on SCP-1224 by Drew Bear from the SCP Wiki, located at scpwiki.com/SCP-1224. It is licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution Share-alike 3.0 unported license. This episode featured Justin Gellner as Scott Anderson and Cody W. as Meriwether Parker. It was written and edited by Leola Angel. We welcome comments. Please rate and review us. Email us at vaultveritas@gmail.com. Join our Discord channel using the link in the episode description. Or for additional content, visit our Patreon. Our Blue Sky is being discontinued. Thanks for listening.